shaping governance, policies, and power. From the halls of government.
You were there.
I was not there. Check the record. Wait now. I was not there.
To the voices of the people.
We are suffering. This suffering is too much. It's too much. Look at the students. There's no job. They finish school. There's no job for them.
We analyze the undercurrents, expose the intrigues, and break down the narratives that define our democracy. Dr. Tony Olisa Mbeki, delivering razor-sharp analysis, and Ebuka Franklin and Chisom on the question wheel, driving the conversation. We bring you the most compelling discussions on governance, policies, and power plays. Stay informed, stay engaged, stay ahead. The Polity, every weekdays at 9:15 a.m. Exclusive on Udala 104.7 FM Onitsha.
We sincerely apologize for starting behind schedule. It's been a very, very terrific morning. I started with the fact that there's been a terrible accident around Nkwele GRA gate. If you know, the traffic congestion presently is from Edison down. And so anyone coming from Oka to Onitsha, Oka access to Onitsha should use the old road route, because that Onitsha Enugu Expressway is presently blocked. When I say blocked, I mean grid locked from Edison up. And that is because a fully loaded cement trailer fell. It sort of had a collision with a 911. And according to reports, the conductor and the driver of the 911 are still sandwiched with in the compressed vehicle. From reports getting to us from Franklin Ebuka, who is also unfortunately affected by that gridlock, Federal Road Safety Corps officials already on ground. They are trying to get the affected victims out of the sandwiched vehicles. And at this point, I've been trying to make a mental calculation of what kind of equipment, tools, machinery would take for that to happen. And of course, for incident like this to be cleared off the road as soon as possible, where everything is working, systematically well as it should be. Unfortunately, people coming to Onitsha from that area, people going to Oka from Onitsha today are going to be badly affected. So please, I say again, use the old road, because the Onitsha Enugu Expressway is blocked. Tony, it is a season of a lot of what do I call it now? Breakdowns, accidents, and more often than not, we've been talking about how to be conscious as a road user, as a driver. Put your vehicle in place and make sure that you're not driving drunk, make sure that you're not driving dizzy, fatigued, and stuff like that. But it looks like year in, year out, I wouldn't know the cause of this particular accident, but from what I see, the vehicle is staying slant on the road, blocking everything. If you just joined us, this is the Polity on Udala Radio 104.7 FM. And of course, all we do here is to talk about happenings in and around Nigeria. And this is not just happening in Nigeria, it is happening here in Anambra State on the Onitsha Enugu Expressway. I am Chisom Chinedu. Dr. Tony Olisa Mbeki is here as well. So, Tony, what would you say to road users at this point, at this period, that everyone really needs to be careful?
First and foremost, good morning, Chisom Chinedu. Good morning, Nigerians. Good morning, the good people of Southeast. Good morning, Indianambra. Good morning, Onitsha, Donidu. Good morning, Ndui Osimo. Good morning, everyone under the reach of our voice. We thank God Almighty for being here, hell and Haiti, and to witness some of these developments, and at the same time to make a comprehensive report about different happenings in and around the country here in Anambra State. It's quite unfortunate about the incident we are talking about, and we are looking around. If you look at the trucks, one for me was laden with tiles, and then the other one, I think, cement.
Yes.
And if you look at these developments, it's really very unfortunate. I don't know what they are trying to struggle. And we've seen situations where we are piling unnecessary pressure on ourselves. We are piling pressure. Can we take things easy? If you are driving, Can we take things easy? People are trying to, I don't know. You want to meet up? You want to turn up? From January till December, you couldn't meet up, and for you, this last minute is the time to meet up. The keke people, they drive recklessly. That is total rascality, absurdity. And we must appreciate the men of special marshal, men and women of special marshal. They are on the road trying to calm down the situation. Most times, avoid speeding. What are you speeding for? What is it for? At least there is this word that says Ebonyo Solulu Ige. And you know you are learning with different weighty items like towels. What do? You avoid potholes that can put down your vehicle and take this load as much as you can. You want to make the entire money in the world by allowing your truck with a particular kg as the maximum. You want to overload it to make that extra money. What could maybe for one reason or the other 2 trucks would carry. You want 1 truck to carry it because of the money involved. At the end of the day, the truck will break down. At the end of the day, the truck may fall off and you lose the money. What gains do you make? Most times we don't use our natural sense. Common sense is not even common again. Can we take things easy for Christ's sake? If you're a road user, look sideways before you cross. And for those plying these different routes, don't overspeed. Be on the lane. There are people that they will never be on the lane. They would like to either, one way. Those that will fly one way, those that will follow the other route. These things are madness. You don't try this where there is orderliness. In some society, traffic rules must be complied with to the letter. And people are not paying fines. By the time government comes heavy on some of these traffic offenders, they will say government is this, government is that is starting money. But when you are asked to keep to simple traffic rule, you will not. Driving here sometimes gives you exposure of some of these infractions. The bus drivers, they don't stay on the lane. 90% of them. Whenever there is traffic, they don't stay on traffic. They find a way to meander. It's anomaly. And one thing is that they are not paying fines. Their buses are not being impounded. And when you stop them, the compromised officials who are to impound them, they will sort them with 200 naira. And the official will tell them, carry on, go on. That's the kind of thing we have here. And are you going to talk about the keke people? Then are you going to talk about those who carry loads? Because I know this period is a period where loads are being carried or ferried or conveyed from one point to the other. People are trying to rebuild their house, rebuild their homes, to make their homes look so neat, so good. People are conveying properties, trying to, for this Christmas, you understand. For those who are in that very business, it is their season. But carry as much as you can. Don't carry beyond the kg of your truck. You don't allow your truck to break down. If it does, you are going to suffer. The person who you have to ferry the whole thing may lose some of these items, and the person can make do by replacing them. See, can we use our common sense and do things? Most times when I go out there, I see mad people, conglomeration of madness. That's what I see on the road. And it really irritates me a lot. It's really very, very disturbing.
I can imagine how irritating it is, Tony. Like the past few days, I've had my own fair share of the madness, especially when you have to be the one behind the wheels and the tricycle drivers are moving mad. That's not the way to put it. But of course, we are hoping that someday we'd have a system that puts all of that madness in check. Because I tell you what, Tony, they know what they are doing. When they go to places where laws work, these same people who drive like they are driving in a jungle stay in line.
Definitely.
They stick to the course.
They do, because here they believe they can compromise that official that will stop them at DMJ's roundabout. Why has it been, or why is it always that the keke bus drivers, they don't stay on one lane? They don't. The other people there, some of them, once they apply that route, they will compromise them, because for them they are there to make their own money. That is madness. And we are just appealing to road users, commuters, that you don't have to make use of Enugu Onitsha Expressway. There is accidents somewhere around the Mpwele. That's opposite that Mpwele entrance, close to Edison filling station. We have a situation where truck collided with I don't know, trailer, and the entire road is blocked. So people may have to make use of alternative roads. That is the old road. And if you allow them to make use of this old road, before you know it, they will congest it as usual. That's what they do. We must appreciate the road safety. They are doing their work, even when we know some of them at a point they will just be concerned about collecting money. Then the men of special marshal, these are people who do voluntary work. They don't collect any money. They are not paid. They are not paid. These are men and women. They will leave their family, leave what they are doing just to be on the road to make sure there is free flow of traffic. We must appreciate them. Absolutely. Even the road safety people that are paid, they are concerned about collecting money. Those who are not paid are there to do the work. But some road safety officials who are not that are even paid, they are there to collect money. See, I don't know. These are people we need. Services like this, voluntary work, the special marshal. In fact, the old road this morning at People's Club, I saw free flow of traffic at Boromi roundabout, free flow of traffic around or along Oka Road, free flow of traffic. These people are there. They deserve our commendation.
I think this is also a time to, as much as sometimes I'm not satisfied with the way they go about things, the Artsman and the on-tap people, those green people, the people that wear green.
Yes.
This is a time to give a shout out to them. Whenever they see them on the road, everybody
especially those at ABS. I must commend the on-tap people around the ABX junction. These people do their work. But those around DMGS roundabout, they are there to collect money. But the same on-tap people at DMGS, they are there for money making. At the ABS junction, they are doing their work. I don't know how the same set of people will behave differently, but I believe the mayor is listening. And I know he's not going to take it lightly. And I know the kind of person he is. He is listening, and then he must put those around DMGS roundabout to order. They must make sure that every keke file on one lane. Bus drivers, this one, they will drive and blow their horn and like siren as if they are mad, they are drunk, they behave. If you look at their hair, I don't know. But that's by the way, let's leave all these things, but I know that people are listening.
All right, then let's go tell you what the front pages say. And of course, right after that, we're going to dive into the conversation proper. And papers on our desk this morning: The Nation, Vanguard, The Punch, and The Guardian newspapers. From The Nation newspaper, the banner headline here is Tinubu to governors obey verdict on cancel autonomy. Our state police will strengthen our security, says President. Yelwada to roll out e-registration on page 2. Army training schools for overhaul, page 4. PDP faction dissolves 14 state excos, page 29. I understand there is another governor from the southeast moving to the APC anytime from now. But of course, we're waiting official announcements. States on high security alert for Yuletide. That's on page 2. Oshun moves to secure boundary with Kwara. PDP failed me, says Fubara. Governor speaks on defection to APC. At this point, I'd say, Fubara, please face governance. Leave all of the political banters for now, so you don't end up saying what you shouldn't say. My mother would always say that a person who talks too much says what they shouldn't say, or lies a lot. You see that on page 3. Senate clears 64 nominees for ambassadorial appointments on page 2. MBA, AGF, no to death penalty for kidnapping. That's on page 3. Court dismisses Malami's bail application on page 3. Ex-AGF legally detained. Interesting times. Nigerian Air Force officers leave Burkina Faso for Portugal on page 2. On page 4, alleged 22 billion naira fraud. Court upholds Ngige's bail with conditions. On the Vanguard newspaper, banner headline here is Oil Sector Far-Reaching Reforms Coming. That's from Ayeson Mohammed Alvao on page 5. There are a lot of writers, and not just let that be. Tax laws altering legislations through official gazette illegal. That's from lawyers. The writer here, the story is on page 51. Reps constitute committee to probe alleged alterations rather. Governor Yusuf Lord Tinubu Bichi over 47 billion naira Wuju Road on page 9. Tinubu to governors obey Supreme Court judgment, let local governments get their allocations. On page 8, Electoral Act, reps back 2-year jail term. 5 million naira fine for vote buyers, sellers on page 8. Uncertainty of enough aircraft departure to Portugal after release in Burkina Faso. on page 9. And these are the stories. Finally, NSIA grows assets to 3 billion naira, builds Nigeria's health, agriculture, and infrastructure sectors on page 50. The Punch newspaper banner headline is Reps probe tax law tweaks. PDP demands suspension. That story is on page 2. It has a rider. House raises 7-man ad hoc panel. Presidency warns against sabotage. Says tax law not anti-people. Senate confirms Fani Kayode Omokri, 60 others as ambassadors on page 7. It's really a very funny thing. I mean, Omokri confirmed as an ambassador under Tinubu after everything. And at this point, I'm beginning to ask, is there some sort of special consideration when it comes to battering people with words? Because that's how you define what Omokri has done to the person of the president. But still, the same Omokri is willing to work under him, under his government. It doesn't say so much about both the presidency and Omokri as a person.
That's to tell you the nature of a human. Human beings are inconsistent.
Nature of Omokri.
I know. That tells you about how people are. And then when you hear God is unchangeable, that's what it means. Omokri, we knew, most of us that know him very well, we know that when he was making those statements, we know what he actually meant. It was not the same. A particular pastor who was preaching against sexual immorality was actually in that sexual immorality. It's all about people go out to preach what they do not practice. So these days, before you take anything from anybody, see it first as what the person is doing. To start with, the person must prove otherwise. That's the way things are. If somebody is preaching against something, I will first and foremost take it from the angle that the person is doing that on legs that have been able to establish some level of integrity that also support the fact that he is not doing that. By then, you tend to believe the person. Don't give trust anyhow these days, because people are all out there to make money and to make means for themselves. So somebody like Omokri, even the very moment he has been on this, I know for sure that this is exactly what he wants. They will tell you, I will never work for this, nothing will ever make me. But Daniel Buella said the same thing. Omokri said the same thing. So there are so many of them that say the same thing. There are those that will tell you, I will never see him, I will never check him, I will never work with him, I will never be with him. Today, what is happening between FIBA? Well, everything he has said, has he not retracted, has he not done opposition? Forget these people, we know what they are for. Not just for politicians, even pastors, even those who are in different positions of leadership, that's what they are.
Sad development. South African, police shoot Nigerian man dead at traffic stop on pages 4 and 5. Court to case Malami's father detention by EFCC on page 7. MTEF reps Senate disagree over crude oil benchmark on page 20. Yuletide, NSA alerts governors to beef up security on page 28. World Bank to approve $500 million loan for Nigeria today on page 20. In security, Tinubu pledges state police to U.S. European allies on page 7. And finally, on the front page of the Guardian newspaper, some of the headlines here include: when pains of reform, old scars hound new tax era promises. That's a big story on pages 4 and 5. Fresh nationwide defections tilt 2027 balance as APC tightens grip on page 6. Ex-Labour Minister Ngige gets bail in alleged 2.2 billion naira fraud charges on page 7. FG resigns decision reopens for the 7 federal unity colleges on page 7. Birkin Ladi attack death toll rises to 14 on page 30. 6 ex-PDP governors attend as Tinubu hosts APC caucus in Aso Villa on page 7. Yusuf comments Tinubu Bichi over 47 billion naira Wuju Road in Kanu on page 29. Ahmed Defense Finances welcomes probe of children's education funding on page 3. Senate confirms 64 ambassadorial nominees on page 3. PDP caretaker committee dissolves 14 state excos, fixes January for congresses on page 3. And so we are starting with the first matter on our desk this morning, and that will be the AGF, FAGBEMI, and of course the Nigerian Bar Association, and of course other interested parties kicking against the death penalty for kidnapping. You can recall that before 2010 or thereabout, kidnapping was there, but it wasn't an emergency like it is today. And so with the issue of the Niger Delta militancy coming up, we saw kidnapping for ransom, we saw kidnapping of foreigners working in oil rigs and all of that. And gradually we saw kidnapping of people for ransom payment to finance crime chains and buy arms and all of that. We saw kidnapping for terror reasons, just to make a statement, tell the government that, you and your security formations, you don't have this under control. We also saw kidnapping happening as an organized crime, commands, people setting up what I'd call forces now. And their major modus operandi is to kidnap people, make money off them to fund subsequent operations. And that has continued. And so for that reason, some governors have proposed that when someone is persecuted for kidnapping, the person should get the death sentence. But the Attorney General of the Federation, Lateef Fagbemi, alongside the Nigerian Bar Association and some human rights advocates, have argued against that. According to them, the death penalty will not deter kidnapping. I want to know what you think. Do you think that is true? They also think that the Nigerian justice system is deeply flawed, with poor investigations, coerced confessions, prolonged trials, and weak legal representation. Therefore, they cannot sanction or stand by and watch a death penalty issued on kidnappers, because sometimes there could be wrongful convictions. And of course, when there has already been a death penalty, it's an irreversible punishment. You can't tell somebody that you've already killed that, okay, we found out that you were actually not the person who committed this crime. They've also argued that the focus should be on the certainty of the punishment and not the severity. It's not about the weight. It's about making sure that this punishment is carried out, is served. Because we've also heard in this country, Tony, that some persons have VIP access to prisons. They get to prisons and they are treated like VIPs. They get access to whatever they want, women, drugs, you name it. Some people run crime syndicates right from inside correctional facilities. And so the NBA, Fagbemi, and other human rights activists are arguing that this surely cannot be the only way out, because we have a bigger loophole. Killing them is not going to, deter kidnapping as much as having that person really suffer for what they have done. And of course, keeping them to aid further investigation. But all of these have also been at the center of one thing: human rights standards. Going across the world, death penalty is no longer something that international communities would identify with as a tenable punishment, because it's against human rights. So I'd like to know what you think about these reasons that have been given. Do you find them enough to quench this call for death penalty? Or do you think that, because some of the times when they kidnap people, they die in their hands. Sometimes they kill people to kidnap people. Should a driver kidnap the person's boss? And stuff like that. So do you think that maybe if they get to kill in the process, then it has to be death penalty? Or maybe if they don't get to kill, then maybe they... I want to know what you really think, Tony.
We are dealing with 4 different bodies who are on one page on this issue, and will not, because of the fact that they're on one page on this issue, accede to whatever arguments they are making. We look at arguments on its merits. No more, no less. Not because you are this or not because you are that. Every argument is weighed on its own merit. And when there are fallacies attached to this argument, we try to point them out and label them as fallacies. And these fallacies could range from one to the other. For the fact that these have not yielded this, it also means that it's not going to yield that. We are talking about Attorney General of the Federation, Lateef Fagbemi, along with the Nigerian Bar Association, NBA, and National Human Rights Commission, NHRC, and other stakeholders that have been on the other side. They are opposing a Senate bill to classify kidnapping as terrorism and impose a mandatory death penalty. Now, every law works for a particular set of people at a particular place. Let's mirror kidnapping activity and terrorism. We have seen from every sense that most kidnappers, they are usually terrorists. Those who are in the northeast, northwest, they do kidnapping to fund their terrorism. Kidnapping is just a branch of what they do for them to get the funds to fund their broader mission. That is one. On the northeast and as far as northwest is concerned. Then if you come down to the southeast here, we've seen kidnappers, not necessarily, I'm talking about south, southeast, and then entire south. Kidnappers, there are those who are also terrorists, and there are those who are doing this for their own business. Just for them is a business. Now, the question is, do we classify kidnapping as part of terrorism? I've been in support of the fact that it must be classified together. If you, because of those who are doing it in the south, say you wouldn't want to classify it, what about those who are doing it in the northeast, northwest, and north central? The issue is not whether to classify kidnapping as part of bigger terrorism. The issue is, I think what they're arguing about is the sentencing. If you give death sentence to kidnappers, how many of these people that we've been able to sentence that we go on to execute? Probably is raising international concern that if you go on to bring in issue of death sentence, that there are those who may be facing either there are those who may be facing one case or the other. They cannot be repatriated. The international community may not be able to repatriate suspects, especially when they know that if they come in here, they are likely going to be executed under this capital punishment. And then the issue of that, it will not deter them, that capital punishment would not deter kidnappers and could worsen security by hindering international cooperation, as many countries refuse to extradite suspects facing execution. Now, if you look at China, how did they come out of issue of corruption? China introduced capital punishment for corrupt public officials. If you were a corrupt public official, China will execute you. It's not kidnapping. I'm talking about China. And for them, it has worked for them as a country. It's a way to tell anybody that listening that public funds are meant for public use.
What? I'm sorry, Tony. Sorry to butt in there. I have a question for you, but first I need to let us know that Franklin Ebuka has finally made it to the office, to the studio. Franklin,
yes.
You here for that, eh?
I survived.
Trauma. Are you
yes.
traumatized?
Is it? The thing, I don't like seeing blood, but I saw blood this very morning. So, I couldn't get closer because getting closer could have given me some kind of feelings.
I get it.
But the thing is that because I had to trek a long distance for me to be able to come out from that gridlock, I had to get close to the vehicles involved in the accident. And from what I gathered, the trailer carrying cement was trying to negotiate into that GRA Unkwele Road. And then the 911 coming from Oka rammed into it. And that thing they call the truck head of that 911 is compressed to the point that you can see the driver and the motorboy, the bus conductor, stuck and compressed in that very area. In fact, by the time I left there, people were trying to use iron to see how they could, break parts of the vehicle so that they can be pulled out. Road safety guys were there with their what's it called, with their towing van, so that they will see how they can clear the gridlock, because we saw the sign the moment we got to the major Unkwele junction. The moment we got to that Unkwele junction, that was when we saw a long queue of vehicles, and we're asking ourselves what actually happened. So we managed to maneuver and got a little bit beyond the Unkwele junction, and no movement again. Anybody going to Oka or anybody going to Onitsha could not make any headway. So you have no option than to disembark from the vehicle and trek out of the situation. So trekking from that very point, you had to trek close to Obunike toll gate for you to now have access to other vehicles coming to Onitsha here. But where this thing happened is there is that Unkwele GRA close, very very close to Obunike toll gate, very close, less than 1 kilometer. That is where this thing happened.
Close to where they call Agric.
Exactly. So that is where this thing happened. So as of this very moment, I don't know what the situation is, but as of when I left there, the motorboy and the driver, from what I saw, I can presume that they were dead. In as much as, as a trained journalist, there are ways of confirming death. Of course, they need to be taken to hospital for doctors to certify, because there are levels of certification. But in the nature I saw them, because blood was still gushing out from their bodies, telling you that it just happened.
How many?
Two of them.
The
Motorboy and the driver. They were the ones I saw. And the crowd I saw there this very morning, it was mammoth, because people were just trying to see, asking questions, what happened. So I don't know what actually happened. Whether the driver of the 911 didn't see that truck, that trail was negotiating into that very road. I do not know what actually happened. Was it that he didn't find out on time, or he lost control? I cannot say. But what we saw there this very morning, of course, is quite terrifying. And like people have said already, people who are using the road, you have to be extremely careful. Extremely careful, because if you have this at the back of your mind while driving, you understand why FROC will always preach defensive driving. When they tell you drive at a certain speed level, it's not because they don't want you to enjoy the vehicle you are driving.
Honestly,
it's because that in time of accident, the impact is going to be minimal. That's why these things are being told. But sometimes when we are told to drive at a minimum speed, you think somebody is trying to stop you from enjoying your engine, or somebody will V8 and a symbol like this. No, that is not the essence. It's just because the vehicle you are driving, anything can happen. The tire can burst, anything can happen. So if we are driving at that control speed, once it happens, the impact becomes very minimal. I will raise my case at this point.
All right, then. We hope that that gets sorted out really fast. We are still on the conversation about the place of the Nigerian Bar Association, the AGF, and of course some human rights organizations concerning the push for a death penalty for kidnappers. Tony, you were making reference to to corruption and China. The fact that China had to impose death penalty for any issue of corruption. But I was going to ask you a question about the root cause of kidnapping. You see, when you have a deep dig into how all of this started, minimally as agitations against neglect, poverty, hunger. And so, this concern about the root cause of crime generically in some parts of Nigeria, I'd classify them with kidnapping, criminal activities like stealing, burgling, car snatching, pickpocketing, and all of those things. Have we solved the foundational problem before going ahead to put out a punishment as severe as a death penalty?
And most times we've seen kidnapping could be a kind of a terrorism. It could also be for reasons attached to social and economic inequalities. But if you look at it from every angle, we've not been able to deal with factors contributing to kidnapping. But one would also say that no matter what, you don't take to kidnapping as a way to meet up, because it's an inhuman act. It's a crime against humanity. It's more like man inhumanity to man. That's what kidnapping is. No matter the socio-economic condition, it is no. So anybody who tells you it's because of this, it's because of that, the person is really a hardened person. Just like I was saying before now, China, remember, has death penalty both for kidnapping and also the stealing and embezzlement of public funds. That's for China, and it has worked for them. That is why those who are in public offices, they know very well that if you mismanage public funds, you misappropriate them, or you divert them, death awaits you once convicted. And then if you look at countries that have death penalty for kidnapping, you have some countries like Iran, Saudi Arabia, North Korea, Yemen, Somalia, Kuwait. There are so many of them. Even Syria, even Afghanistan, even Pakistan. These are countries that have death penalty for kidnapping. But in some of these countries, like in China will give you suspended 2 years execution maybe within that very period, the person who has been convicted may be looked, or the case may be reviewed to see if the person could be commuted to life imprisonment. But if it is a high-profile one, aggravated one, you will be executed immediately. That issue of 2-year suspended execution will not even apply. Now, we are talking about these countries. They have looked around and see what works for them. They are not looking at international communities. They are not looking at international corporations. They are talking about how their country will be better off. That's the most important thing, because for you to make a country to be better off, your first and primary concern should be what works for you. Now, coming back to Nigeria, for me, I may not strictly support death penalty for kidnapping, but life sentence. Life sentence. Situations where the victims die in the hands of the captors, death penalty comes in, because it is murder again. If you kidnap somebody where the kidnapped or the victim of that kidnapping incident dies in the process, it's murder. It's no more kidnapping. So the penalty for murder is death. But situation where the victims, maybe for one reason they did not die, life sentence. So that's what the Nigerian Bar Association is arguing, discretional sentencing, but we must define it. Kidnapping where the victims do not die, life sentencing. Where the victims die, it becomes murder. So nobody will even argue that one. Nobody argues that one. So I'm in support that for those who are into kidnapping, and kidnapping will be also termed or framed in the light of broader terrorism because of the peculiarities we've seen in Nigeria. So it will be classified as terrorism, but with life punishment, that's life sentence, as against death penalty, where the victims die, death penalty. For me, it will work. It will deter people. It will, because those who you have convicted or who have sentenced to death, many of them have not been executed. So many governors are not signing. Governors are not signing. Even sometimes president is not even signing. So nobody's signing. There are many who are on death row. They are there for many years. So it seems that even their death conviction is translated to be life sentencing because they have been there for long. Someone like this was the name of this man. The very pastor that poured kerosene on one of the worshippers and died of, Reverend King. If you look around, Supreme Court upheld his death sentence. And guess what? Lagos State Governor, none of them, we've seen many of them, they have not been able to assent to that. Even the Sarah Sanda, that the Supreme Court upheld her death sentence.
Miriam Sanda.
You find out that the appropriate authority who will sign the death warrant will not even sign it. So for me, kidnapping, I've said it many times, should be life sentence where the victims or the victim did not die. But where the victim dies, it becomes murder.
Add something, because you made reference to Nigeria, because we have some crimes in Nigeria that attract capital punishment, the likes of murder and the homicide and even treason. They attract death penalty. But like you rightly pointed that for some time now, Nigeria has not executed anybody sentenced to death. I think since 2016, so about is it 9 years or thereabout? So nobody has been executed, and that does not mean that we have not been having people being sentenced to death. So in that very case, if we're going to now prescribe another death penalty when there seems to be like a moratorium on death sentence, so are we trying to play double standard? But let me also refer to this. You mentioned China too, and from what I know, if you go to China has some crimes that attracted death penalty, like murder, drug trafficking, terrorism, corruption and bribery, especially in serious cases. I talk about espionage and crimes against national security, then some violent or large-scale economic crimes, all these things that attract death penalty. I think the only European country where death penalty is still fashionable is Belarus. Most of the European countries, they have faced it out because they believe that it does not deter crime. Because where I'm going to is, because from the point of the House members or from the point of the lawmakers, they think that death penalty can help to deter people from going into kidnapping or terrorism. But let's look at it and know actually whether death penalty actually deter people from committing
crimes like
this kind of crime.
If you look at it, if you apply death penalty where you go on to execute it, it will deter people from this. anybody who is into it knows definitely that he's going to go in for it. China executes. Nigeria does not execute. Why it will not deter people here in Nigeria is because we are not executing. If you ask China, if not for some of these stringent laws, China would have become worse than Nigeria in terms of corruption and other economic sabotage. If not for their law. And it's working for them. And let me put this thing. I have said it many times. We can also introduce life sentence for those who steal public funds. The senators are concerned about kidnapping because they know that they are usually the targets. And they are prescribing death penalty for those who may target them or target their children. What about those things they do, like stealing public funds, diverting public money, misappropriation, parting of budgets, and other things? Who will prescribe punishment for them? Because these are the ones they do mostly. I think in line and in the spirit of esprit de corps, that's what most servicemen call themselves or tell themselves whenever they see one. In the spirit of esprit de corps, they should also prescribe life sentence for those who are convicted of mismanaging public funds. It's important we also add it up. But we may start with this issue of kidnapping because it is horrendous. It is devastating. But we can as well extend it to issue of fighting broader corruption.
All right, there we go on the break now. Attend to some commercials. When we come back, the conversation continues. It's the Polity, Udala Radio 104.7 FM.
You're listening to Udala Radio 104.7 FM. Seriously authentic.
Golden Promise Fiesta 1.0 2025. Be there at the biggest fiesta of the year. Join us live at Sonia Hotel, Sawite, 153B Eziweka Road, Awado Bosi, Onitsha, on the 20th of December 2025 by 5 p.m. till dawn. It'll be a night of unforgettable entertainment, comedy, dance, and thrilling musical performances from Annie Dons, Professor Chikobi, Sawan-on-One Women Leader, Twin Parrots, Abuchi Obosi, and many more. Tickets are available now. Regular 2,000 naira, VIP 10,000 naira, VVIP table of 5 persons 500,000 naira. Get yours at number 1 Ngozi Obago Plaza, 20 Enugu Road, Onitsha, or number 1 Pampan Lane Suite, P25, second floor, Meritro Plaza, Main Market, Onitsha. Before the tickets sell out, contact us on the following numbers: 0814-394-2802 or 0808-441-5156. Golden Promise Fiesta 2025, proudly powered by Golden Promise Entertainment, sponsored by Melvin Table Water and Kalis Juice International Limited. Don't just hear about it, be there.
Your investment is just one drop. On its own, it can only do so much. Now, imagine 1 million more drops. This is the power of First Asset Money Market Fund and First Asset Dollar Fund. They pool your money with others to create a powerful flow, giving you access to great earning opportunities. Call 0201-889-4444 now to start with 5,000 naira, $100 or more. Let us build wealth together. The First Asset Money Market Fund and First Asset Dollar Fund are registered with the Securities and Exchange Commission, Nigeria. Please read the prospectus and where in doubt, consult your investment advisor, stockbroker, fund, or portfolio manager, accountant, banker, solicitor, or any other professional advisor for guidance before subscribing.
When the city sleeps, the river remembers. When the drums call, Onitsha awakens. This December, the call grows louder as Udala Radio joins forces with the Golibe Festival 2025. From December 26th to New Year's Day, the heartbeat of the East comes alive. Music, laughter, art, culture, and the unstoppable joy of homecoming. This year promises more energy, more color, more connection. A festival for every proud son and daughter of Igbo land. Stay tuned to Udala Radio, your front row seat to the celebration that never fades. Golibe! Festival 2025. Exclusive media support by Udala Radio. It's not just a festival, it's who we are.
Golibe, Golibe, Golibe! Onitsha, are you ready? The festival is here. And this year, Kate's Associated Industries Limited, manufacturers of Dubai antiperspirant deodorant, will show up, not just to turn up, but to turn up fresh. December 26th to 31st, Chuba Ikpeazu Stadium will be hot. Street Carnival, Dreamland for Children, masquerades, high life nights, full December cruise. But please, do not let enjoyment get you caught on fresh. Get Dubai antiperspirant deodorant, the roll-on that holds the body, holds groove, and hypes December. Golibe Festival, proudly supported by Kate's Associated Industries Limited.
Merry Christmas from all of us.
Udala Radio
104.7.
Now hear the Christmas Day sweet past. Let's go. Bells they ring for the street tonight. Children they dance on the Christmas light. Mama they cook jollof, aroma they rise. Yeah. For they smile, joyfully miles. No no they for body love they warm. Afro be breathing happiness don't come. Oh, from Onitsha city to every home. Now celebrity giant food is on. It's a Udala Christmas. Oh, oh. Everybody gather make we jollof. It's a Udala Christmas. Oh, oh. Turn up the music, make it go. Udala. Christmas day sweet for Udala Radio. Udala. Your number one vibes everywhere you go. Light up the tree, let it shine. Let it shine. Love for the season, make we share. Make we bind. From morning to night. Udala, hold you tight. Now Christmas magic, pure delight. Udala, Udala. Christmas day sweet, oh. Udala, Udala. Feel the beat, oh. From all of us at Udala Radio. Merry Christmas.
Kare Christmasia wetalanye angole no biuto. Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year from all of us at Udala Radio 104.7 FM, the voice of the region. When politics unfolds,
Udala Radio 104.7 FM.
You're listening to The Polity. Get involved now.
If you just joined us, this is the Polity on Udala Radio 104.7 FM. My name is Chisom Chinedu. Franklin Ebuka is here. And Dr. Tony Olisa Mbeki is still here doing justice to all of the matters on our desk. And we are moving over to local government autonomy. And, of course, the president telling governors, obey Supreme Court judgment, let governors get their allocations. Tony, we are still on this. How many years later? It's been over 1 year since that judgment was passed. And I recall that some persons have raised arguments about the impropriety of the local governments being the reason for what the governors did in the first place. But now that the Supreme Court has said, in the words of, was it Moses, let my people go. The Supreme Court has said to the state governments, let the local governments go. Why are they still not obeying? What is this about? This is contempt of court, right? Why are they still doing this? And why is there no clamp down on what they are doing?
If you look at it from the way Supreme Court made that very pronouncement, it's all about financial autonomy. People are still talking about the existence of administrative functions of the state, because the states are there to look at the operations of the local government. Every state has its own local government administration law. Every state in the federation, they have such law, and having such law, means that there are areas the state government would come in. But when it comes to money allocated for local government, it is from the consolidated revenue, that these monies are wired to local government accounts. It is from that very angle, and we know very well that the Office of the Accountant General of the Federation and at the same time the Ministry of Finance, they look into this, and the usual state and federal financial committee, those that sees to fake allocations. So they do these things, but so many local governments, governors have handicapped them to the point that they cannot even have their own accounts. See, look at the problem. We have 774 local governments in Nigeria, and I must let you know that some local governments have not been able to bring their own account because they were asked to submit accounts to the Office of the Accountant General of the Federation. Many of them cannot submit accounts. So if they
Why is that so?
Because if you submit your account, you may be colliding with the governor, and some of the governors put in these local government chairmen.
So I want us to get something clearly. They've been asked to submit accounts, and they are not even submitting this because they don't want to be at loggerheads with their governors. So it is about the persons administering the local governments, more or less waiting for the governors to say jump before they even act on their functions.
Politically independent, and for the fact they are not politically independent, there are things they cannot even do. They have been called upon many times, submit your account so that this money will be sent to you direct. And many of them are waiting for their governors to give them green light. If the governor do not give them the green light, they will not submit anything. And most times, if the Attorney General withholds giving such money, he will be challenged. The local government will write to him, please still release to the state account, that we are still accessing it to the state account, that we are still working to make sure that we have our own account. So the Attorney General will have no business than to send to the local government who insisted that the money be sent through the state account or the state joint account. But there are some governors that have asked the local government authorities, submit your accounts. And there are those that have not even asked them because they are not politically independent. If for you to have total independence, you must start with having political independence. And for the fact you can't have political independence, you will not have financial independence, you will not have administrative independence. That independence, that autonomy you are looking for, you will not get. The very first thing to get will be political independence, or you can call it political autonomy. So in that sense, it means that the state will not conduct elections for them. Because as we speak now, the state government conduct elections for local government. And in doing so, they handpick them and put them in these local councils. And when they handpick and put in these local councils, they dance to the tunes. They dance to the rhythm of the state. So political independence should be number one. If they have a separate body other than the state that conducts election for them, where they can also be asked to run on independence candidacy. For me, local governments, they should introduce independent candidacy. So where you may not align with a political party, if the people wish you to be there, you go in there and render account to the people, where the state may not even conduct an election. So these are ways to go about trying to achieve political independence. If you do not achieve that, you will not have financial autonomy. We will not have both administrative autonomy. So these things become a mirage. See, we know all these things, but that's the way it is.
Okay, so Tony, let's look at this, because this Supreme Court judgment we are referencing, that was in July 2024, and when that judgment came, of course, everybody praised it, saying that was a road towards having 3 tiers of government being independent. Let's see how we can cascade development to the grassroots level. But that hope that came with it seems to have been dimmed. And we say have local government working hand in hand with state government in terms of financial operations, where the joint account has not been abrogated. Because that was what Supreme Court found out, saying that any payment, any fund due to the local government should go straight into their own account. And they have explained why some local government have not been able to open their account. In fact, I know that CBN demanded that they come up with certain requirements, and I don't know if even 1/4 of them were able to meet those requirements based on certain bottlenecks they have not been able to overcome. Now, I want us to look at the sincerity of this very purpose. The Attorney General of the Federation, who went to court for this, he has always referenced this very judgment, saying that we have to do the needful. and the president himself too is now referencing this too. It appears as if that this is the posture of the government of the day, that the government of the day wants a system where the 3 tiers of government shall become financially independent and will be able to drive development to the grassroots. But if you look at certain actions of the government, it appears as if we are not too serious about it. Is there no way that we can ensure that this judgment of Supreme Court is implemented to the latter? Now, I have gone through the judgment again to see whether if there is anywhere where the Supreme Court gave authority to the Accountant General of the Federation to withdraw the fund due to local governments on account of any local government not being financially independent. It is not stated. Now, I now reference to the case of Osun State, where Osun State was having issue with local governments, and at a point in time, the state government was crying foul that money due to local government was being withheld. In fact, that case went up to Supreme Court level before Supreme Court now gave judgment. So if you look at what happened in Osun State, then look at how things are happening in some other local government areas of Nigeria. Have we shown sincerity of purpose in ensuring that local government is emancipated? Now, what even stops us from going to the 1999 Constitution, going there to abrogate all those things that put some kind of uncertainty about the status of local government as a third tier of government? And is there any possibility that the government can find another way, maybe federal government can find another way, through which it can force state governors to emancipate local government funds?
We have not shown that sincerity of purpose when it comes to this emancipation we are talking about. And the whole thing is written in our constitution, and we know why it is so. But the point remains that it is even more complex, much more than we think. First and foremost, we know we are practicing a federal system of government. There's no doubt. And local government is constitutionally recognized as a tier of government, but it is the weakest and most constrained tier. Because if you go by the provisions of the 1999 Constitution, local governments are expressly provided for under Section 7, subsection 1 of the Constitution, which guarantees a system of democratically elected local government councils. Their existence, functions, and funding are therefore constitutionally recognized. However, in practice, governments operate under significant control by state government, especially through state laws regulating their structure and function, which also the Constitution provides. Because the Constitution also make it possible, in fact, provides that the issue of existence, the structure, the function, the funding of the local government shall be made by the State House of Assembly. It's there in the Constitution. And then you also have the issue of the state local government joint account, which also is in the Constitution. The Supreme Court abrogated it by saying that it has defied the purpose, the framers of the Constitution, the intent upon which that proviso was added. The governors have made it very impotent in every sense. So if you look around, Nigeria is a federal system of government, there's no doubt. We are not running parliamentary system of government. We are not running monarchical or other forms of government. Federal system of government entails recognition of two entities. I've said it many times in different places, in different lectures I've given. You have the federating units and the federal government. These are because we are told that we run a federal system of government. And what is federal system of government? Is a system where power is shared between the center and the federating unit. And local government is not a federating unit. Local government, no person, no lawyer, no expert will tell you that local government is a federating unit. Because it does not have its own judiciary. There are so many things it cannot make laws. It can make only rules, which you may call bylaw. Bylaw, they are just a set of rules. Local government cannot make laws for its own administration. It has no court of its own. Even the smallest, the customary court, is still under the state government. It's not even under the local government system. But that is just to tell you that local government is not a federating unit. But it's just a tier of government for rural development, to ensure that it works hand in hand with the state. And the Constitution puts local government under the care of the state government. The Supreme Court is just trying to give them financial autonomy to make them to breathe, so that this development, which the framers of the Constitution had conceptualized, would get into the rural communities. But the truth remains that it is a constitutional complicity, if you ask me. Constitutional complicity, no doubt, because they are not federating units. There are things they cannot do on their own. There are so many things they cannot do on their own. They can't make laws for themselves. They can't even put themselves there. There are so many things they cannot do. So if you want what Franklin is actually looking for or imploring, we have to go back to the Constitution and possibly see if we can make local government one of the federating units. We may term it whatever federal structure we may term it. It may be a different federal structure where we have the power being shared between the center and federating units, where local government comes in as a federating unit. Where in this case, local government, we have its own legislative council where they make laws for themselves, not by law, and these laws will be binding on those jurisdictions. Secondly, where they can also have a way of having their own courts. They can set up their courts, or even whatever you call it, try offenses within their jurisdiction. Can local government try any offense within its own jurisdiction? The answer is no, because it's not a federating unit. So I think it's a constitutional thing. It's a constitutional complexity. But here we are talking about them being financially independent. And I have said they can only be financially administrative independent if they are first and foremost get political independence.
So Tony, how do we explain what we have as local government system? Are we going to call it a contraption? Why am I asking this? Look at the way local government is structured. Like you have made reference to the 1999 Constitution, which created some kind of uncertainties, where you read one section where local government is recognized as a tier of government. You go to another section where it tells you the local government is still subservient to the state and cannot operate on its own, because the 1999 Constitution gives state government the power, or the state assembly the power, to make laws on how local government should be run. So you see that two of them becomes inescrutable. You cannot extricate one for the other, going by what 1999 Constitution has made. Then you now look at structures we have set up in local government. We have local government chairmen, and we have councillors, and we are told that these councillors are presumably lawmakers. They sit, they make laws. I think I saw one local government that did a budget for the 2026, a budget of about I think that 20 billion or thereabout. And in Enugu State, let me even make reference to Enugu State, where a former commissioner for information resigned to go and become the chairman of Udala local government area, Akezaka, Apollo Broadcasters. So I was wondering what he was thinking about for him to resign as a commissioner for information to go and become local government chairman. Perhaps he wanted to bring development to the local government, to the grassroots.
Or maybe the perks were more.
Exactly. So I'm now looking at what we are running as a system, that if we have councillors who call lawmakers, who make laws at that very level, but this local government, many of them can't even collect the levies given to them by the Constitution or by any law, any known law of the state.
Why?
So why are we having all these contradictions that we cannot fix? Now we are having ongoing amendment of 1999 Constitution, and nobody is even thinking about going to those sections to see what can be amended. But to keep on going back and forth, trying to see how we can address the issues from a symptomatic approach, other than going to the basics or going to the foundation and address the issue once and for all.
If you look around, he who pays the piper, he takes the tune. I have said it many times here. He who appoints, he who approbates, he who puts somebody in, decides a lot about that person. And most times when we talk about institutional strengths and institutional firewalls, I have always said you must take away that responsibility of putting people in there by one man, that is Mr. President. As long as you keep such responsibility in his decks and where he can hire and fire, forget it, you are not building anything. Now coming back to the local government, the state assembly, through their laws assented by the governor, brings in these people. The governor appoints let's use any state for instance. If you are to use Ebonyi State Independent right? Ebonyi State Independent
Electoral Commission.
You may call it ABCEC. Who appoints the chairman of ABCEC?
The governors.
The governor. Who appoints commissioners of ABCEC? The governor. Who
Isn't
brings
that the way across the country?
Who brings the fund for the election? The governor. Who is the leader of the party in that very state? The governor. Who allows see, have you seen any of these elections where at the end some people that the governor do not want becomes declared the winners? You've not seen that. So you see how these things are complicated. There is no political independence on the side of the local government. And for the fact there is no such political independence, you don't expect anything different from what we have. And I've said, for us to go back and see if we can really give them that level of development or possibly that emancipation so talked about, first and foremost, we start with emancipating them politically. It's all about going back to the 1999 Constitution. The state may not conduct elections for them. We look for another body that will conduct election for them. And if you say it's going to be INEC, that's national body, some people will tell you that local government is no business of the federal government. It's no business. But that's true. If local government is no business of the federal government, so in fact that very suit Fawemi instituted before the Supreme Court, activating the original jurisdiction of the Supreme Court Section 3.2. Many people have argued that Supreme Court couldn't have entertained that. All of a sudden, Attorney General brought a suit before the Supreme Court on the issue of local government autonomy, and Supreme Court activated its original jurisdiction under Section 232. And people have questioned, where did that one come from? Somebody who has no business with local government, who has no relationship with local government, who has no form of connectivity with local government, bringing their matter before the Supreme Court. And when the state governor did the same thing for local government in his own state, you told the state governor he has no such powers to bring issues of his local government before the Supreme Court. But you allow the Attorney General, who has no business whatsoever with local government, to bring such matter before you. So for many, it is double standard on the part of the Supreme Court. At least if you look at these two persons, you even allow the governor, because governor has some responsibility given to him on issues of local government, but the president has no responsibility given to him on the issues of local government, and he brought it before the court. So that is by the way. I just decided to bring it now because my mind crossed to that. The point I'm trying to make here is this: it's two-way thing. If we want to stand local government to be a stand-alone tier of government, let's go to the Constitution.
All right.
If we cannot go to the Constitution, what we are seeing now is what we keep seeing. Even if the Supreme Court goes on to say, give them any local government who has no account, don't even release fund to any third-party account. You know what? Because they're not politically independent. They would, in fact, if governors may even give them the very account for them to submit, because they are the one controlling them politically. We must go back, allow them to run their own election, allow them to set up their own court, allow them to have their own local government assembly, that is the what we call the state assembly for lawmaking, and also allow them to have independent candidacy where they may not really be under the grip of the governor. So there are many ways, there are many things we can do to make them to stand alone, independently, politically. But as for now, I don't think governors will even support the ideas, because when it becomes an issue, it will still be the local government and the state assembly that will vote, and the governors control them. They will not vote for that.
Right.
So it is a long journey unless we go for possibly a national conference where decisions are taken without the input of the governors as we have them, where at that level, whatever that is being decided, it becomes what we are going to practice. Sovereign national conference. Maybe some of things like this can even give a room to, having such kind of system.
All right, Tony, quickly speak on Malami's further detention. What do you make of it?
I've said it, there's this song, I don't know if I can, there's this song we usually sing those days. I think, I think Amara Chukwu Baloba, Onye nara ibe ya nara. Amara Chukwu Baloba, Onye nara ibe ya mara. Amara Chukwu Baloba, Onye nara ibe ya nara. In fact, Malami is receiving his own grace now. That's what it is. He's receiving his own grace. There was a time those he hunted received theirs. it is own turn to receive his own grace.
So
Yes,
when he say, it's a circular world.
That is it. What goes around comes around. When he say that it is politically motivated, yes, it is. But when he was there, was it politically motivated? It was politically motivated. But we cannot say because he did it that makes it right. No. But I have said many times he should go on to start explaining to us how he got the money to build Axibia Hotel in Brinkebi. I said it the other day. How he got the money to build Ryan University, one of the most, would I say, elite university in Brinkebi. You built these universities under your time as the Attorney General of the Federation, and other properties he has acquired. All the Abacha loot repatriated. Many of us don't even know what that loot was used. It was under the care of Malami. Some of this loot coming back from Switzerland, coming back from different offshore companies and offshore countries. They came in. It was under Malami. Can we say for sure what all the Abacha loot that came in, what it was used? I don't know how many of them will go and tell Mr. President that Abacha looted nothing. And that was why he was quick to marry one of President Muhammad Buhari's daughter. I think he married her as the third wife. Yes. We are told that EFCC sealed one of the buildings housing the daughter of former President Muhammad Buhari, whom Malami married as third wife. So it is important that we look at some of these things. All the assets recovered by EFCC, how was it used? Mago has so much to explain, and there's so many. Even Abdul Rashid, former EFCC. No, Abdul Rashid. There's one that came in immediately. Mago was Ibrahim Mago was relieved. So there are so many explanations. Yeah, the young man. So there are many explanations. So I'm not saying that for the fact he hunted somebody, he should be hunted. No, I'm of the opinion that there are many gray areas, many unexplained wealth about his. That
genuinely he has to explain.
He has.
Okay. Just to put to context what he's been asked to come and explain. EFCC is saying that he has to come and explain the whereabouts of the $490 million Abacha loot recovered under his tenure. This includes questions about the whereabouts of that recovered money, what it was used for, what was the procedure. But the biggest question is how he managed to, get involved in the approval of payment of $16.9 million to lawyers during this very recovery, because he engaged two Nigerian lawyers saying that they were happy to do the recovery, whereas Nigeria had already initially engaged foreign lawyers who helped in the recovery, and they were paid. So questions were now being asked. On what basis again did he engage Nigerian lawyers and say they were going to be paid $16.9 million for what work? Was it a fresh work or work that was already done by foreign lawyers? So he has plenty of questions to answer. Like Tony said, whether he's been hounded or not. For the fact that there are questions he needs to answer, let him supply the answers. If you cannot supply the answers, let him sleep there.
Let him sleep there. All right, we take a break now. Attend to some commercials. When we come back, we open up the phone lines for you to join the conversation. Do stay.
Udala Radio, 104.7 FM.
Quality bread, Wendy's bread, for your family breakfast. Wendy's bread, I'll pack it on the dozialo. Wendy's bread, mama papa they like Wendy's bread, kitchen and do. Wendy's bread, even children they like Wendy's bread, Wendy's bread, I'm in town. Wendy's bread, get it better, tasty, we go sweet your belly. Wendy's bread, Wendy's your body choma. Wendy's bread,
Wendy's bread, tasty bread. You can contact us on our official address, 2nd Business Park, Enugu Road, GRA, beside Onitsha, Anambra State. We also have another branch at St. Michael Plaza at Tandy Road. Also contact us on 070-1149-1571. Wendy's bread, your tasty bread.
Wendy's bread.
This life no balance. We wake up early, work hard, sleep late. Then we do it over and over again in the pursuit of success. The hustle is the hustle, but you got to shine your eyes. Good or bad, one call can change everything. The hustle got you here, but the right call takes you there. True caller, take the right call.
From the streets of Lagos to the heart of Anambra, the rhythm returns home. This December 28th, Oka will breathe in rhythm and shine in gold. Lagos Jump Off 3.0, the homecoming edition, featuring Annie Dons Onyetaka, Iblis Jarek, Mr. Raw, Slow Dog, Charles Okocha, PB Ninja, Ivata, Diamond Okechi, Eaglet Davidson, Casey Kubana, MC Monica, Aboifi I Go Talk, Slim Sherry, Waga, Ejai Kwamba, Go2 Onitsha, Hype Man Extraordinary, Harry B, Hype AO Machine, DJ Fresh Omen, DJ Alonso, DJ Spin Daddy, DJ Factor, DJ Fabuloso, VVIP table, 3 million naira, VIP table, 2 million naira, regular table, 1 million naira, cocktail table, 300,000 naira, standalone or working guest, 150,000 naira. For reservation and inquiries, do call 0913-484-4336 or +1970 258-0990. Lagos Jump Off 3.0, the homecoming, December 28th, Anambra State. This event is proudly packaged by CNN Entertainment. Be there.
Ụbọchị dum jupụtara n'ọtụtụ ihe omume mana ego gị nọ nkịtị ebe ọ dị. Ọ bụrụkwanụ na nrụsi ọrụ ike dịka ị na-eme kwụsịlata n'oge a mee ka ego gị rọrụ gị ọrụ sonye na amụma First Asset Money Market Fund na First Asset Dollar Fund ma nweghachita ihe dị mma jiri naanị $5,000 $100 wee malite ngwakpọ akara 0806-494-5838 ka ịmalite ịmụba ego gị ka anyị gbakọ akụnụba anyị ọnụ edebanyere aha First Asset Money Market Fund na First Asset Dollar Fund na akwụkwọ ụlọ ọrụ Securities and Exchange Commission Nigeria biko gba akwụkwọ mgbazi oluso ya ma ebe ọbụla ị na-enwe obi abụọ kpọtụrụ onye investment advisor, stockbroker, fund maọbụ portfolio manager, accountant, banker, solicitor maọbụ onye ọzọ ma ihe a na-akọ ka o duzie gị tupu ịmalite.
Nepa don take light again. Wetin I fit do? Every day fuel don cost. How person wan take survive? I go cook soup today, tomorrow e go sour.
My people, why you dey stress when the sun dey your head for free? Switch to the affordable solar energy wey Wascana Solar Company dey give small businesses and homes across Naija, whether na barbing salon o, restaurant o, supermarket o, or your 2 or 3 bedroom apartment. Wascana Solar get correct durable solar wey go serve you wella. No more NEPA wahala, no more expensive fuel. Let the sun power your business and home for free. And no forget o, solar fans, solar lights, everything dey available. Call Wascana Solar now for 0806-374-2374. I repeat am, 0806-374-2374 or send email to wascanasolar@gmail.com. Visit their office near Olive Relief after Marble Hill School Junction, Okpanam Road, Asaba, or Classic Line Zone 2, A4 Electrical Dealers International Market, Obosi. Wascana Solar, Okumube.
Hello, my brother.
Hello, bro. How far now?
Adele, waiting this up now.
Now my tenants, they won't finish me. They know they pay rent. Wahala every day. Papa, the way you get supposed to give me joy. You don't want wahala.
Yeah, my brother. You need to upgrade to A sharply.
Guy, another agent I beg, I don't want. Agent that they wahala na 5 and 6.
Sure, you never try Asoj Assets now. The best firm in property management. See, since I carry my houses, give them. Now, so I they enjoy peace of mind like this. Them they handle rent collection, tenant screening, maintenance, everything. I just they relax, they watch my investment, they grow like this.
You know me now. You mean I pay avoid all these shifting with tenants?
Now, correct. Asoj Assets go manage all your property worries. Them they professional, transparent, and reliable.
My friend, will you get out? Now see finish the cost of this nonsense. No worry. Asoj Assets they come. When I go soon here out.
Why stress when Asoj Assets will run them for you? For property management, tenant services, and real estate solutions, call Asoj Assets today on 0904-0422-240 or 0906-8205-058 or visit our office at number 8 Niger Drive, GRA Onitsha, Anambra State. Forget your from house agents and trust the experts at Asoj Assets for your peace of mind. Asoj Assets, managing property, multiplying value.
Udala Radio, 104.7 FM. You're listening to the Polity. Get involved now.
Okay, thank you for staying tuned to the Radio 104.7 FM. You are listening to the Polity, and it's now time for us to go to the phone lines to take your reactions. My name is Franklin Ebeka, Chison Chinedu, and Olisa Mbeki. All of us are right here in the studio. And remember, we are live on our Facebook page, Udala Radio 104.7 FM. So let's get to hear from you at 0803-221-6973 or 0803-827-6694. Good morning.
Good morning, my speaker, Tony Mbeki.
Good morning, your name?
My name is Gracious Okoye from Moray Kingdom. I'm calling you from Nihu now.
Mr. Ignatius, let's hear you.
In fact, Malami is receiving his own pound of flesh. I can remember I said it many times with our speaker when he was in Udala and even Udala and even Choice. That Malami is the what Attorney General like that ever produced. Is it abuse of rule of law? During Malami regime, the red chamber was invaded by the mass men. During Malami regime, our judges were treated like a common criminal. You see, and he made a lot of he did not give account of it. So let him receive what he did to others. If things started happening like this, people in the higher level would think twice that whatever you sow, you will reap it. This is exactly what is happening to Malami. Let him have it. He didn't have it harder than he did to others. Thank you. I'm done.
Okay. Thank you for calling. Good morning. Okay. Try to reconnect. 0803-221-6973 or 0803-827-6694. You can get across to us using the telephone lines. Good morning.
Hello?
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Franklin,
Good morning.
I'm so sorry about the trauma you had this morning. I felt so bad because I got a hint of it. It's bad. But there it is. How's that for you? Good morning, my daddy. Good morning, Odogwadi.
You're welcome.
I'm so glad you delved into that local government issue. That's my name. I was battling with it, trying to say the local government has no legislative power. And these politicians kept deceiving us. And then they made them apron string to the governors. And the governors were busy ripping off them, collecting the fathers, even not the fathers, major income from the local government. Here we are, because of our lives. Everything you want in Nigeria comes from the local government. You want to go for election, Abasanjo comes to a house and they come and they go election. My sister, you go, that's there. I mean, they run for themselves. Come on, we're going to tell us. We're going to come. The local government should go. When you go there, they bring chicken, everything to the local government headquarters, now get to the local people. Even the revenue does not get to the local people. I'm so happy. I'm happy for your analysis, especially on this local government issue. Yes, there are things we got right in our constitution. I think we should begin to think straight. Thank you. I appreciate it. Now, secondly, Madam, I got my own case with Malami. Now you know why he's past murdering. I know. His Madam, late Papa, Madam Buhari's brother-in-law. Yeah. That's why he had the guts to say that he's going to sanction Southeastern part. Yeah, done in the circle. Look, I will sanction Southeast.
All right.
Yes, I'll declare a state of emergency.
Thank you.
That is a case for another day. Madani, we shall talk about it, God willing. Thank you very much.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Let me even use this opportunity, Tony, to ask. The money that local governments collect from people in name of marriage restoration. That money, if you go through the church, you won't pay more than 10,000 for the registration. But if you go through the local government areas, each of the local government has a different price for it. You go to some local government area, they will tell you that it's 50,000. Some will tell you it's 30,000. But what makes me angry is that after telling you that this is how much you're going to pay for processing the registration, some will ask you to bring cartons of malt,
packets of biscuits.
I don't know what they use that thing to do. Sometimes when you calculate everything, it's about 100,000 naira.
It's very unfortunate because they collect.
Good morning, everybody in the studio.
Right. Good morning. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, everybody in the studio. No time.
Good morning. Your name?
Opika from Obusia. Proceed.
All right, what for?
Yeah. Mr. Franklin, if you can remember what I said yesterday about the issue, you notice what you see this morning there. See, that 9/11 you see here, that guy is just sleeping with, because maybe they have a night issues. After uploading, they are going for Woody to do servicing. And sleep. So just take that guy where he sees. That's why that guy did not see that big truck. See what happened this morning. Two of them, they are already prepared for Christmas. You have 6 days to go. What will happen to them this morning? That's what I'm begging the federal government of this country. It's very important. All these big truck guys, at times they will enter road, they will not sleep. They don't need to be on Broadway night alone. They need to be 12 midnight till 6 a.m. I'm begging them to put that law immediately, mostly for this season, Christmas. Let them put that law that they will pack. So 6 a.m. Once it's 12, they will enter road so that they will sleep. So that the road will be very easy for small cars and buses and cyclists to go.
Okay.
It didn't touch me the time you are saying this, but one thing I'll say, that they are so rest in peace. There's something I can do.
All right, thank you.
One thing, I want the federal government to beg. Make the obey instruction to avoid destruction. I left my case here, you are blessed.
All right, thank you. Your opinion is valid, but the only afros on if I'm just asking, right? Okay, so let's take some other calls before we get to our Facebook page. Hello, good morning. Hello.
Hello, good morning.
Yes, good morning. Your name?
This is Sunday from Mebroga.
Sunday, go on.
Yes. Concerning local government, according to what you said here, they are not under security unit. But they are collecting tax at market area. Collecting all this barrel license, particle license. They are doing some certain things. And there is some to our place where they will tell you, this is local government rules. If you want to legislate it, you go to local government and legislate it. All these kind of things. Where did they drive so power for? That is what I want to know. Because at times, as if they are confusing us with this local government office. Until local government have their own protocol autonomous, as you people said, that even federal will be conducting their election. If they do not do so, in as much as governors are appointing them in the name of election, that's how I put it. Because it's appointment in the name of election. In as much as that can continue, none of them, because if anyone fails to do what governor asked him to do, he will use state house of assembly to remove him. Where they have councillors here. I don't know the name of those councillors. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I think we have to go to our Facebook page to take a reaction. But before then, let me quickly take this very one. 45 seconds, if you can do that. Good morning.
Are you there? Hello?
Hello? Okay, I think let's hit the Facebook page.
Udala Radio 104.7 FM. Don't forget to share, like, and follow. Mole Barra says, local government as third tier of the government and government at the grassroots. Justice demands that it is autonomous and subsequently must maintain financial autonomy, but governors have emasculated them. Local government chairmen should execute their functions and be accountable to the people at the grassroots. Any doubting Thomas should go to our local governments and see the level of decay, hunger, and sufferings. Democracy must not be compromised in any way and any time. Free, fair, and transparent elections at the local government level is the beginning and hope for true democracy in Nigeria. Nigerians have long decided on its autonomy, so let it be. Funai Fresha. It's so painful to hear about the terrible accident at Enugu Onitsha Express Highway. Please, Anambra is a highly populated state. Why can't the government stop heavy load trucks operating in daytime? They should operate late at night. All over the major roads in Anambra State, heavy loaded trucks are blocking roads, both to and fro. Please, these people should be operating only at night. Similarly, one-way traffic is another danger awaiting for Anambra road users in the state. Many have been killed as a result of one-way traffic, which why not make active laws to reduce all these man-made problems in Anambra roads? Okay. Onyeka Paul, we see you. Good morning. Ugochukwu Frank says that this is a textbook case of patronage, not diplomacy. Turning the ambassadorial list into a reward system for political loyalists, devalues foreign service, sidelines career diplomats, and reinforces the belief that connections, not competence, drive appointments. Okay, Okbe SJP says that considering the seriousness of Nigeria's court and the rate of crimes that have been committed in the country, he's looking at them as a money-making venture. A competent court will pass judgment, and the offender, which is to die by hanging or firing squad, will be kept in a correctional center eating free food. If one or two have been executed, crime definitely will reduce. Izuchukwu Chukura says that the screening and confirmation of Reno as an ambassador once again reflects the kind of country we live in. In a nation of over 200 million people, it is troubling that someone who is repeatedly denigrated the Igbo race and is frequently in the media for the wrong reasons is considered worthy to represent Nigeria. Gochuku Frank says, so Malamigo, they collect 2 portions of rice like this for Christmas. Today's rulers and political power, Morgan should also tread softly. Ogamake Zechuku says she's fully in support of the death sentence for kidnappers. Considering the type of tension placed on the person kidnapped and the family members, you realize that they have passed through near death itself. When 2 or 3 kidnappers are executed, others must have learned their lessons. You know, my theory is when you put execution on kidnapping and you don't tackle the root cause of kidnapping, you'd have them just go to another crime. First, it was militancy. And before we knew it, it was the uprising of insurgents preaching that Western education and Western way of life is bad, destroying things that seem Western to them. Next, they launched attack on Western institutions like schools, but for a reason, ransom. All right. So one, they are making statements like in the Chibok case, and gradually they trickle down to taking ransoms. And so the point is, we need to really nip crime generally at the bud, or would have them just change the type of crime they are into. Odelia Aloysius, he says, court refusing to grant bail to Malmi is a welcome development. He has been using the same law against other people when he was the Attorney General. Today, the same law expects some explanations from him, and he's crying. Let him face the consequences of the law. Godfrey Lokoye, finally, he says it's difficult for Nigerian lawmakers to draft laws that will affect them in the future after their service. They can't approve left execution because corruption has eaten up their minds. China, over the decades, made laws of execution of corrupt leaders. That's why their country is placed top 3 in terms of best or most developed countries in the world. Frankly, those are the comments on Facebook.
So, from the comments, of course, we have to wrap up this very show. I think Saudi Arabia also has death penalty, the likes of Iran and co.
We said it.
Okay, so Tony, you have to wrap up now, but let's wrap up with this development. Somebody asked a question. I'm trying to remember the question he asked, but we also factor in this issue of the ambassadorial nominees. All of them were confirmed, despite the fact people had some questions regarding some of them. And somebody wrote something yesterday. He said that Governor Hope Uzodinma of Imo State is gradually reviving the political career of Ihedio Hakim. And some other persons also said that the president, by the virtue of the appointments he made for the ambassadors, that he's only preparing for 2027 because virtually all of them who have been appointed will play one part or the other in mobilizing vote for him for 2027.
he has the prerogative, we have said it many times, and from what we've seen so far, is a reward system and at the same time a tax to do more work. But we've seen the lists, they came in different tranches, they have all been confirmed, and it's not surprising. Nobody had ever thought that no one would be confirmed, because whatever Mr. Pedro wants, whatever he wants is good for the Senate and possibly those who are in that very circle. So we are going to look at where they will be posted. That's what we are also watching out. Where will Reno or Mokri be posted to? And there are those that believe that if it's posted to some of these countries, for Nigerians who were born in this country, for them to process their passport, because he will be one that will be in charge. Because many Nigerians who have emigrated to different countries, they have children in those countries, and for them to prepare passport for their children, either for them to travel home or whatever, most times they go to our high embassies or high commission. So would Reno throw ethnic card in discharging his duty? Because for so many people, it has been observed that he hates a particular ethnic group for no just reason. He has denigrated them.
There is proof.
He has denigrated them. He has said quite a number of things against them. Would he also bring that up why he discharges his duty? Because why he does that? Because trust Nigerians over there, they will petition him. Don't be surprised, immediately he's posted, there are Nigerians who are waiting on the sideline to petition the host country that such a person should not be their ambassador. There are Nigerians, there are many advocates, many groups.
Do you think that it could be surprising that Reno will take up the job and focus? Because whatever Reno was doing, trying to target a particular ethnic group, if I should get into his mind, it was intentional.
It was
because
intentional.
He wanted to please certain quarters.
Exactly. That's what that is. But the way I'm saying it, he may be professional if he gets in there. But the damage has been done.
It has been done.
The most important thing is that if he's posted to any country, Nigerians around that area and mostly Igbos will try to petition the host country. They may even hold protests. You can imagine where an ambassador is posted to a country, the people from that country in that host country will start protesting against his posting. And if it becomes a security issue, the host country may ask the Nigerian government to see to that, to look into this protestation. Even when they don't have right to reject, they have right to reject. And if it could cause security issues to them, they may reject him. And if he's withdrawn and reposted, it could start from another place. See, we don't want this to happen, but there is likelihood that it may happen, but even as much we don't want it. So next time, you don't need to play that kind of card to get what you want in life. For you to get this position or that position, you do all manner of dirty games just to be there, intention anyway.
Yeah.
But let's see how it goes.
Quickly, I think this also points out to the persons appointing Reno. What kind of message are you passing? I mean, does it mean that you are comfortable with the kind of things that Reno used to do? Does it mean that you sanction the things you used to do? Because I would have thought that shunning a person like Reno would have made a strong statement against what he stood for.
Now, after reading a book titled Men Without Ears, written by one former, I've forgotten her surname, but anybody who has read that very book, after reading that book titled Men Without Ears, I came to the conclusion that Nigerian political leaders do not have ears. Not that they don't have physical ears, but they have refused
to
listen. So we end the show at this point. I thank you everyone for following us. My name is Franklin Ebuka, Son Chinedu Antonio Olisa Mbeki. From all of us, we wish you a happy festive season. Please be careful out there. Good morning.
Be careful.
From the commercial city of Onitsha comes Udala Radio